You know that feeling when you're in a conversation, maybe a presentation, and you just find yourself agreeing with the speaker? But here's the thing, they weren't being pushy at all. It's a really fascinating skill, and today, we're going to break down exactly how it works.
Right? You've definitely seen this happen. A speaker isn't aggressive, they're not demanding, but somehow you're on their side. You're nodding along. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not magic. It's actually a really powerful and subtle technique, and it's called premise-based communication.
So, what in the world is a premise? Think of it like the invisible foundation of a statement. It's a little assumption that's baked right into your words, and the listener just accepts it, usually without even thinking about it. That's where the real influence happens, just below the surface of the conversation.
Okay, let's look at a classic example. On the surface, this just sounds super polite, right? Very hopeful. The speaker is just sharing some info and, hey, they're encouraging you to use it. But the real message? It's hidden in plain sight.
Let's really break this down. Your conscious mind hears the nice, polite part, I hope you'll use it. But your subconscious mind, it latches onto the hidden premise that this information is definitely, without a doubt, helpful to your business. The value is presented as a fact, not just an opinion. And this is all before they've even told you what the information is.
And this technique is just so incredibly versatile. It's not just for formal presentations or big speeches. Let's explore how these hidden assumptions can subtly guide our thinking in totally different situations.
Okay, imagine a teacher is introducing a really complex new topic. By saying this, they're showing empathy. They get that it might be a struggle, and that builds trust. But what's the powerful, unspoken message they're also sending? What are they getting you to accept without even questioning it?
There it is. The hidden premise isn't that you might get it, but that you will get it. It frames your future understanding as a total certainty. That little shift in language can make a huge difference, making someone feel way more capable and motivated to stick with it.
Here's another one. I bet you've heard this 1,000 times, maybe at the end of a meeting or a workshop. And again, it just sounds like a simple, well-meaning suggestion. But let's look at what's really going on under the surface. By pushing for immediate action, the speaker is quietly planting the assumption that these ideas are proven, that they actually work. So the conversation is no longer about if the ideas are any good, it's about when you're going to start benefiting from them. It's a really subtle but pretty significant shift in focus. Now let's switch gears to something like sales or marketing. A salesperson might say this, and it feels like they're reading your mind, right? It sounds so empathetic, so focused on you, the customer. But look closely. The question itself completely skips over the most important debate. Does this service save money in the first place? The premise is that it does, and the only thing left to talk about is how much. It frames the service as being valuable from the get-go before a single piece of evidence has been shown. Okay, so we've seen what a premise is, we've seen how it works, but that brings us to the biggest question of all. Why are our brains so open to this? Why does this gentle method of communication work when, being direct and forceful so often fails? Well, the psychology behind it is actually pretty simple. First, a subtle assumption gets planted in a sentence, and because it's not a direct, in-your-face claim, our minds don't put up their usual defensive walls. We just sort of accept it. And once that little seed of an idea is accepted, it starts to guide our thoughts and actions from that point on. So here's the bottom line. Premise-based communication works because it's gentle. It doesn't trigger our natural skepticism. If you make a direct claim like, my service will save you money, someone might argue with you. But a premise guides the listener to that conclusion all on their own, and that feels natural, respectful, and totally free of any conflict. If you take just one thing away from all this, let it be this, right here. The words we choose aren't just describing things. They are actively building a reality in the listener's mind. They set the stage for what's coming next, and in doing that, they actually shape the final decision. So here's your takeaway. The next time you need to persuade someone or guide them, don't just think about what you want to say directly. Think about the subtle assumptions, the gentle premises you can build into your sentences. By doing this, you can effectively lead people to your way of thinking, all without a single push. The only question left is, how soon are you going to start noticing the benefits of this in your own work?